Alright, hey, what's up YouTube? This is Keith with Less Magic, More Gathering, and today we are doing a special edition of Top Picks. We've got preview season among us, so I am here at mythicspoiler.com. Check them out if you want to check out all the cards that have been previewed for M19 or any set as it comes out. Can you believe we're in preview season already? My gosh, it seems like we just got Dominaria. But obviously, I'm going to scroll down here. There are a lot of cards that have already been previewed. So I'm not going to go through every single one of these cards. I'm just going to scroll down through here and touch on some of the ones that I've seen and that I like. And we'll see what we run into, and we will go from there. First off, I don't know why it's kind of gray here, but Apex of Power is a 10-cost red spell. 3 reds and 7 others. Exile the top 7 cards of your library. Until end of turn, you may cast non-land cards exiled this way. If this spell was cast from your hand, add 10 mana of any one color. So if you... I think I would put this directly into my red deck. That if you go back and watch our random card deck tech for Jaya Ballard, put 1 copy of this in there, hope we get to it. It lets you exile 7 cards and gives you that 10 mana back. So if we ever get to the point where we've got 10 mana or 7 and we use Jaya Ballard to cast this, or maybe we get a what's the artifact? Primal? No, it's not Primal. Yeah, is it Primal Wellspring? No, that's what it flips to. Primal Amulet. That's the one. If we get a Primal Amulet out there, it makes it a little cheaper. So Apex of Power, I think, could be a really good card. Given the right circumstances. Obviously, you don't want to run a lot of them. It is very expensive, but 1 copy I don't think would hurt, and it could really help out your deck. I also like the Patient Rebuilding here in blue. 2 blues, 3 others. At the beginning of your upkeep, target opponent puts the top 3 cards of your library into their graveyard. Then you draw a card for each land card put into that graveyard this way. So you're not only milling your opponent, but there's a good chance you're going to be able to draw some cards off that too. Death Baron is an excellent card. Reprint. It's 2 blacks and 1 others, and then skeletons you control and other zombies you control get +1/+1 and have Death Touch. Now I'm seeing this probably. I could see it making an impact right away before Amonkhet and Hour of Devastation drop off. There's a lot of good zombie synergies that could be put in. And that is another Lord. I can't think of the other Lord off the top of my head that gives your zombies +1/+1. But that combine the 2, you can end up with some really powerful zombies. So that's pretty cool. Another card that I saw and instantly thought of a deck that we had done is our Simic Land Rush deck. Could really benefit from this Scape Shift. It's got it's a 2 green and 2 others. Sacrifice any number of lands, search your library for up to that many land cards, and put them onto the battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library. So if you get to the point where you've used up your mana, you can get rid of some basic lands and go find dual color lands, or if you're in that particular deck, if you're needing to go get some islands, you can sacrifice some of your forests or dual lands, go get some islands to make that Tempest Gen bigger. Would be a good one. But also... another situation where I'm not going to be able to remember the spell. Look at the card right now. Yeah, that one. Benefits from lands on the battlefield and in the graveyard. So Scape Shift could really help out. Another one that you probably don't want to run too many of, but good card nonetheless. What else do we got here? Demon of Catastrophes is a good one. 4-drop, 6/6 flyer with trample. And then as an additional cost, you sack a creature. So if you get this into one of your decks where you've got tokens or, creatures that have an enter the battlefield effect, but then they're just there for the purpose of being cannon fodder, then Demon of Catastrophes could really be beneficial. So I like that. I like Elvis Clan Caller here. 2 green Elf Lord, and you can pay 6 to search your library for another one and put it onto the battlefield. So you can kind of ramp your buffs. Pretty cool. I like Thud, especially the art here. Big huge creature falling on a little goblin. Poor guy. It's essentially a 1-drop Fling. I think Fling may be an instant. Somebody let me know. I'm not looking this stuff up. But then you get into things like Gigantosaurus. I don't know if you've seen this. 5-drop 10-10. And then, let me see if I can find it here. Where it may not be on here. The what's the green welcome deck? Its rare card is a 6-drop. I think it's an 8/8 with trample, and all creatures you control have trample. So that would be a good follow-up to Gigantosaurus and any other. I mean, this is going to go really well in your green Stompy. So will that. What else we got? Gutter Snipe. I'm glad Gutter Snipe's back. This is another one that can fit right into a lot of decks. It may find a home in that mono red deck. Maybe after everything cycles out. I don't know. But 3-drop 2/2. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. So that can really stack up. What else we got down here? We got Lightning Strikes being reprinted again, so that's cool. I looked at some of the dragons in the set, like Volcanic Dragon here, and they all just seem like not as good Glory Bringers. Like this one's a 6-drop 4/4 flying with haste, but then you don't get the extra exert ability, and it's more expensive. There's another one down here. Let me see. Where's it at? Oh boy. Yeah, there it is. Spark Tongue Dragon is a 5-drop 3/3 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, you can pay 3 and do 3 damage to any target. Glory Bringer, I really feel like, set the standard for dragons, and all these are kind of letting me down. So, that's sad. Volley Veteran, now since we're in red here for a second, I think goblins could become a thing. There's a lot of good goblins in core set 19. This one is, when it enters the battlefield, it deals damage to target creature an opponent controls equal to the number of goblins you control. So that's handy. What else we got? We got Grave Diggers being reprinted. Let me see if any of these have caught my eye. Dwarven Priest is being reprinted. Now we're getting into the commons, so we don't care as much about the commons. Knight of the Tusk. I don't know if this finds a home or not. It's a 6-drop 3/7 with vigilance, but it is a knight, and I know there's a lot of good knight synergies available right now, so that may find a home, especially with the 7 defense. That's really good. We don't really care about any of these. We got a reprint of Skymarch Bloodletter, reprint of Luminous Bonds. One that's pretty cool is Gearsmith Prodigy. Let me see if I can find the other half of this. It's an artifact. Let me go down. Yeah, Gearsmith Guardian here is a 5-drop, 3/5. It gets +2/+0 as long as you control a blue creature. And then the Gearsmith Prodigy here, 1-drop, 1/2, gets +1/+0 as long as you control an artifact. The reason I bring them up is the art is pretty cool. If you look at this, you can see a person standing here, and you can see the legs of maybe some kind of construct or something, right? But then you go down here, and if you look, this is the top half of that same picture. So if you stack them, they make a vertical picture. That's pretty cool. What else? A lot more reprints. Goblin Motivator is essentially Bloodlust Insider. 1-drop 1/1. You can tap and give another creature haste. Elvish Rejuvenator I like a lot. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. Put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tapped. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So this could, I think, find a home in our Simic Land Rush deck as well. Anything else that's caught my eye? 2-headed Zombie, 4/2 with Menace for 4. No, probably not worth talking about. I got Oaken Forms coming back. Shock with the Ether Revolt. Is it Ether Revolt or Kaladesh? Whichever one. Got the art from that. Spark Tongue Dragon I already talked about. Sure Strikes gets reprinted probably once every other year. Titanic Growth is back. +4/+4 for a creature until end of turn. Alright, now we're getting into the dual color stuff, and I ran into this guy, Vivictus, Asmati the Dire, today. I really, really like this card. It is a 6-cost, 6/6 flyer. When it attacks, for each player, choose target permanent that player controls. That player sacrifices those players sacrifice those permanents. Each player who sacrifices a permanent this way reveals the top card of their library and puts it onto the battlefield if it's a permanent. So, yes, there is the possibility that what they're going to get is better than what you're getting rid of, but it also makes it so that you have targeted removal every turn, and if they don't have a response for your 6/6 flyer, that can cause some serious headaches. These two I think we got the last couple days. They're pretty new. Aerial Engineer, or pretty new as far as the previews are concerned, and Brawlbash Ogre. The Nicol Bolas, the Ravager, is a flip card, and it flips to Nicol Bolas, the Arisen. So it enters the battlefield. Each opponent discards a card. A 4/4 flyer for 4. And when it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. That's already good value. That's a good card. Then you can pay 7, a red, a black, a blue, and 4 others. Exile Nicol Bolas the Ravager and return him to the battlefield transformed into Nicol Bolas the Arisen. So that's I could see this seeing some play too, especially with things like the Scarab God still around for a little bit. We'll see what happens. Alright, let's get back to where we were here. So that's all for those that I'm going to talk about. We got Crucible of Worlds coming back. We've also got Desecrated Tomb. I really like this one. Whenever one or more creature cards leave your graveyard, create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying. So if you go back to that zombie deck that I was talking about, I could see a couple copies of this being in that deck. And possibly, having an impact on standard when M19 comes out. Meteor Golem just seems like a really expensive Chupacabra to me. It's a 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, destroy a permanent. That's the difference, is that you can choose any non-land permanent. But it costs 7. 7. Manolith's back again. I think that's all we're going to look at in those. And we've gotten a couple looks at some lands. Some Timber Gorge. That's another reprinted, and we'll probably get the whole set of these. And Reliquary Tower. There's also a promo version of this Reliquary Tower. So, now, here's the Planeswalker decks I was talking about. This is the card, Aggressive Mammoth, 6-drop with Trample, 8/8. Other creatures you control have Trample. I can see this card being used in Standard in that mono green Stompy deck, just for the Trample and to top out that curve. Because things like, what the hell is the green freaking Elder Dinosaur's name? Why can't I think of it? I'm sitting here making this video like I know something about Magic the Gathering, and I can't think of the freaking green Elder Dinosaur's name. I don't belong on this. I don't belong here. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Right along with them and the other green one we saw up here, Gigantosaurus. I think those are good adds for that deck at the top of their curve. Shivan Dragon's back. Not really a big deal. Grave Waker's back. But here's the Planeswalkers. I'm not going to go through each of them. We got an Ajani, a Tezzeret, a Liliana. And we got these couple new ones here that I don't think there are other Planeswalkers by this name. Sarkhan Dragon Soul. His ultimate is pretty good. -9. Search your library for any number of dragon creature cards, put them onto the battlefield, and shuffle your library. So I've been talking a lot of crap about the dragons in this deck, but you may be able to put together, especially in Commander, I could definitely see him having some use. But you can maybe put together a good standard deck with some dragons. I don't know how competitive it would be. And then Vivian the Arcbow. is a 6 cost, comes in with 5 loyalty. Add some counters, do a one-way fight, kind of like a Rabid Bite, I think, is the one that your creature does damage to the other, but they don't take it back, so that's good. And then the -9, all creatures you control get +4/+4 and trample until end of turn. So with your sapling decks maybe and your elves, this could fit right in. I don't think there's really a lot more to talk about on these Planeswalker decks. Maybe the Riddlemaster Sphinx is, when it enters the battlefield, you may return target creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand. Nah, that's not that great. So there's those. Yay, Land of War Elves again. So as far as my top picks are concerned, like I said before, I really like Vivictus Asmati, the Dire. I think that this card could be very good, but I don't know, without looking into it, how we would build around that. But that's one of my top picks for the preview cards that have been out so far. And then I also really like Gutter Snipe and the Apex of Power. I think I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to probably drop an Apex of Power into my mono red Jaya deck the minute I can get a hold of one. And I also really like Patient Rebuilding. So those are my 4 top picks out of the preview cards we've seen so far from Core Set 2019. Let me know down in the comments what I missed, which ones you think I should have covered but didn't, and what your favorite Core Set 19 cards are so far. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Deuces. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, come down here and press this thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell to turn on notifications so that you'll see when we post new content. If you got anything to say, hit us up down here in the comments section. We always love hearing feedback and comments from people that are watching. Let us know what you think. See you next time.